Morning, everyone. Today I'll be talking about Facebook return on ad spend. I think this is something essential that everyone should know how to use. What does it mean, and just how to use it, especially if you're in e-commerce, how to use reporting. This is a topic that comes up in the certifications, both planning and buying exam, with multiple questions of how to calculate it, how to use it. So I'll be just explaining what it is, how to use it, and also just reporting measurement and a couple of examples as well with things that you should definitely know about return on ad spend, right? And so when we're talking about return on ad spend, what we're basically saying is, am I making revenue off my campaign, right? So if you want to look at this formula here, what I'm doing is are the purchases or the sales that I'm doing bigger than what I'm investing in my campaigns, right? Investment in marketing or Facebook ads. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that my sales are bigger than the cost of my campaigns, right? So I want this to be lower and this to be higher. In other words, I want to make sure that my sales are higher than my ads, right? The amount of spending that I'm doing on the ads. And so the sales are bigger than that. And this ratio that Facebook uses, or return on ad spend, what it gives you is basically a ratio, right? So let's say that if I'm investing $1 and I'm making $10 of revenue, if you divide 10 over 1, what that gives you is 10 return on ad spend, right? Or 10x. So for every dollar I spend, I'm making $10, right? So when people say, well, I made a 3.2x return on ad spend, what they're saying is that for every dollar that I spend, I make $3.2, right? So if you put this here, 3.2 divided by 1, this gives you 3.2x, right? So for every dollar that I spend, I'm making $3.2. And this is key because you can use this to measure campaigns performance, to build audiences, especially if you're doing e-commerce. And you can use this as well to just to calculate what campaigns are being the most efficient. And so when you're talking about return on ad spend, what you want to know is basically, one is the formula, right? So I have total campaign revenue here, and at the bottom I have my campaign cost. I want to make sure that my return on ad spend is over 1. If it's over 1, that means that I'm making money with my campaigns, right? And I'm not including here other costs. What I'm basically saying is that for every dollar that I spend here, I'm making more money here. If my return on ad spend is lower than 1, right? So it's below 1. What I'm saying is that for every dollar that I'm making here, I'm making less here. So I'm making less than $1. So what you really want to make sure is that the most profitable campaign will be the one that has the highest return on ad spend, right? And that's what you're trying to look in the exam and in questions, whether they're asking you just basically how to measure campaigns and where to put budget in. What you're trying to look for with return on ad spend is, where's the highest return on ad spend? And we're going to look at a couple of questions there. The second thing that it's key is that, how does Facebook know that it's having how much revenue or how much sales you're doing? It's basically usually with the Facebook pixel. And this is the most common way to do it. You can use offline events, you can use SDK, and you can use other things. But the most common thing is your Facebook pixel, right? And the Facebook pixel will usually have an event called purchase. And within your parameters, right? So these are your parameters of the Facebook pixel. you're gonna have different information like the value and the currency, right? And this is how Facebook knows how much they're selling through your ads, right? So if I'm spending $1 and I'm selling 339 dollars, in this case DKK, then this is how much money you're making, and this is how Facebook knows. And this is something that you should definitely know as well, because Facebook, and you'll get questions in the exam regarding return on ad spend with how to measure it, right? And how does Facebook know? Well, within your Facebook pixel, you know that you have value and you also have currency here, or products, and a lot of other information that you can see here as well. So how can Facebook know that they're getting how much sales you're making to calculate your return on ad spend through your Facebook pixel? When you go into your reporting tools and you customize your reports, what you're going to be able to do is if you look for purchase, right? Purchase return on ad spend and purchases, you're going to be able to include a bunch of information that's useful, right? So total, unique value, cost, and unique cost. So what this basically is saying is, one, how much is it costing me to generate the sale? How much value, right? So how much in sales am I doing? Total purchases that I'm doing, unique ones, and unique cost. And so this is how basically Facebook is what they're using to calculate your return on ad spend. If you want to look at a report, right? So when you go into return on ad spend and you add those metrics, right? So here I'm at the ad set level, but you can do this at the campaign level and also at the ad level. What you're going to see is you're going to have your normal metrics, right? Landing page view, cost per landing page view, and here you have website purchase return on ad spend. You're also going to have your cost per purchase and your website purchase conversion, right? And so what this is giving you is all the information that you need to calculate your return on ad spend and make sure that your return on ad spend is positive, right? So am I making money off of my campaigns or not? Is this being profitable or not? And that's what you're trying to calculate with your campaigns, right? You want to spend money to make money and make sure that you're making money with your campaigns. And so a 2.75, a return on ad spend of 2.75 or 72, sorry, what this is saying is that for every dollar that I spend, I'm making $2.72, right? So this is, again, this is a return on ad spend that's above 1. So it's a good campaign. What you want to try to achieve is a positive, again, a positive return on ad spend that's above 1. You want to make sure that you're above 1, right? And conversion purchases is basically the revenue that you're generating and how much you've spent so far on your campaigns, right? If you look at the numbers, if you divide 254 divided by 93.23, you're going to get your return on ad spend. So how much money am I making off of my campaigns? How much revenue did I generate off of my campaigns, right? So 254 divided by 93, you get the 272. And so if you take these two amounts, right? So my revenue, and in this case, we're going to put 254. If you divide this by my cost, which is, or my investment, 93.23, what this gives you is a 2.72 return on ad spend, right? And this is how Facebook calculates your return on ad spend. And this is something that you should definitely know, because you'll get it in the exam. And this is how you basically know if your campaigns are being positive and also profitable, right? This is what this gives you is profitability. If you're below 1, then that basically says that you're spending more money than what you're making. If you're above it, then you're making money from your campaigns, right? Again, I'm not calculating here other costs. What I'm only saying is profitability with regards to Facebook ads. You still have to include your variable cost, indirect cost, labor, other costs that you're not including here. What I'm only saying here is for every dollar that I spend, how much money am I making, right? Are my campaigns profitable or not? The other thing that's key for Facebook return on ad spend is your attribution, right? And this is something that you'll get asked in the exam a lot as well, with how does Facebook allocate attribution to your ads. And so what attribution means is basically what ad do you attribute to the purchase, right? Because someone could have viewed an ad first, they could have liked your Facebook fan page later, they clicked on an ad again, they made a purchase, and they made a comment on your post. So the question is, which ad do you attribute your purchase, right? So the purchase right here, do you attribute this to this click? Do you do it to this view? Or do you even do it to the fan page like because you had an ad to get likes, right? Where do you attribute your campaign? And this is where Facebook talks about multi-touch attribution, when multi-touch attribution, which is basically they can allocate or attribute a purchase or a conversion. Like, this doesn't need to be a purchase, right? This can be a conversion to different ads. Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily click, view, or specific ads, but what Facebook does is a click and window and view attribution, right? What they'll say is, we'll give you a 20-day click and 1-day view attribution window. What this means is that from your conversion date, right? So if someone made a purchase, they're going to go back 1 day before for a view and up to 28 days for a click. So what this means is, I'm going back 1 day if someone view your campaign, or I'm going to go back 25 days and see if someone clicked on your campaign within those 28 days. You can change this, and you can change your view and click window by 1, 7, or 28 days, right? So you can increase your attribution window, or you can decrease it. I can say, well, I don't want to have 1 day view. What I want to do is have 28 or 7 days, and I want to shorten this to 7 days as well. How is this different? And I would say this has more to do with your sales cycle. And so how long does it take you to sell a product on average? And more than you, how long does it take for a buyer to make a purchase? The longer that your sales cycle is, the longer you want to have your attribution window, right? If I'm selling a course, then my attribution window is going to be higher versus if I'm doing a flash sale, I have a quick offer, right? That I want people to click immediately and buy in the next 7 days, 3 days. So it's all about your sales cycle. You have to understand your sales cycle in order to say how long your attribution window should be. This is key as well, because you're going to get questions regarding attribution window with regards to return on ad spend. Usually, if I increase my attribution window, what it means is I'm leaving Facebook more time to attribute ads to your sales, right? So the longer that my attribution window is, the more time I give Facebook, the more time they have to recognize more sales, right? So what it means is that your return on ad spend, in theory, should be higher. So the longer the attribution window, the more time I give Facebook to attribute sales, the longer my return on ad spend should be, or not, depending on your spending, right? Remember, return on ad spend has two variables. You have your sales and you have your ads, right? How much money am I spending here and how much money am I making here? What I'm saying by increasing the attribution window is I'm going to give you more time to figure out if we made more sales, right? So your return on ad spend will vary depending on your attribution window. Why is this important? Because with Facebook new attribution system, this is just an example, but 76% of conversions on desktop happen after people interacted with your mobile ads, right? So people actually converted on your desktop, but they actually saw you on multiple devices beforehand. And so this is what multi-touch attribution system talks about within Facebook, right? I can attribute my purchase or conversion to different ads, whether it's clicks or views. And so how does it works with a sample question for an exam as well? So if you look at this question, a gaming client wants to maximize the return on ad spend for a given campaign. You have 3 ad sets. What change should be made to achieve this goal, right? So what this is asking you is which campaign has the highest return on ad spend, right? So what I have to do here is basically say, well, I have a conversion value of 1,000, or let's use the right colors. So I have a conversion value of 1,000. I have a conversion value here of 100,000, and I have a conversion value of 60,000, right? The next thing I want to do is how much am I spending, right? So I spend here $5,000. I spend here $50,000, and I spend here $20,000. So if we divide and do the math here, 1,000 divided by 5,000, you get 0.2, right? 100,000 divided by 50,000, you get 2, and 60 divided by 20, you get 3. And so if you look here, what you're saying here is that for every dollar that I spend, right? So for every dollar that I'm spending, I'm making 20 cents. So I'm actually negative in this campaign. I'm not making even money. I'm not even covering my Facebook cost. If you look here, I'm basically saying for every dollar that I spend, I'm making $2. And then the last one, for every dollar that I spend, I'm actually making $3. So clearly the best answer here, or the best campaign, is this one. This is where you're getting the most money off of your campaigns, right? You're making $3 for every dollar that you're spending. And so if we look at the questions, what should change be made to achieve this goal? Lower bid on ad set 2. You don't want to lower the bid. If you lower the bid, you're actually missing conversions, right? This is your most profitable campaign. You don't want to change anything on your most profitable campaign. Shift budget into ad set 1. This does not make sense. You're losing money in that campaign. You're for every dollar that you're spending, you're making 20 cents. So you don't want to go here, right? So this is out. And so the right question is shift budget into 3. Why 3? Because 3 is giving me a 3x, or 3 return on ad spend, right? So for every dollar that I spend on my ads, I'm actually making $3. So that's all I have for now. There's also questions. If you go to our blog, if you read this blog, I'm going to just increase this. If you look at this blog, there's going to be more information on return on ad spend, return on investment as well. What is the difference, so that you can learn more about it, you can read more about it. I try to summarize in the video the most important things about return on ad spend, attribution, and also sample questions. There's actually more sample questions here that you can use for the exam. Just make sure that you follow us, subscribe to our channel within YouTube, and also make sure that you join our Facebook group. We're close to 10,000 members. People ask a ton of questions on the exam on Facebook as well. So make sure you follow us and subscribe to our channel. And hopefully it helps. If you have more questions, please just make sure you answer that you ask below. Thanks.